Welcome to Speedbump. Everybody, it's Gargoyle's Quest 2 on the NES. 7 players have signed up for this one.
We got them all here.
This is a, if you play Demon's Crest, that is the evolution of this one. I actually, mechanically, think that you're a little overpowered in that game. This game does a better job limiting you, and because of that, I think the level design actually makes more sense here than it does in Demon's Crest, where you're kind of just flying around, having a good time, ignoring the stage. Like, I would akin it to, like, having a P-Wing in Mario 3. That's the kind of power you have in Demon's Crest. This game has a flight bar that keeps you from doing that. So I like this game a lot.
Yeah, I like this as well. Yeah, like you mentioned, this is Gargoyle's Quest 2, which is the sequel to the Game Boy game. But I think this one is more straightforward in some ways, so we'll see how our players do. We've given them a little bit of guidance at the beginning of the game, because this does have some light RPG elements, though it's predominantly a platformer.
It's funny because it opens up as if you're like the knight in Dragon Warrior or Final Fantasy, but you're just this awful looking demon, and you're just like, his name is Firebrand, and he's the same guy, but he's like working for the king at first and stuff in this series.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and give them the start.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we've given them all the instructions basically up to the very first boss. That's not actually all that far into this game. Like you mentioned, you start Demon's Crest relatively powerful, but in this game you start pretty limited. So, what we're probably going to end up seeing is someone breaking away from the group when they acquire the resources they need to make good forward progress.
We're in the Warriors Training Center of the King of the Demons, and now we're looking for the Spectre's fingernail to be, we're like an apprentice's squire's, like, son. Like, we're just like a loser, we need to go train. But Demon's Crest, he's like the most feared demon there is at that point.
I don't actually know how neatly this, like, fits into the Ghosts and Goblins. To the extent that there's, like, lore in Ghosts and Goblins, I don't really know. But, I mean, this is supposed to be a Red Armor from the Ghosts and Goblins universe. But I don't know, like, to what extent that's actually drawn out. Like, is there any connection between this character and, what, Arthur? What's your character's name in Ghosts and Goblins?
Yeah, Arthur. I'm pretty sure it's Arthur. Famous knight name. For no one in particular, you know.
Darkman has recommended, and it was my thought as well, that we're probably going to end up having to measure this based on number of bosses killed, so we might get a lot of ties if we don't see a ton of discerning progress. But there is at least one boss relatively early on, so that should be helpful.
Yeah. The first thing they have to do, and a couple players have already done it, is find and complete the training program that M. Sparkley is currently working on, and Merlin as well. 4 of the players are here. The goal here is to find a bottle in the sky. That's it. Jaspertine's got it. To do that, you have to fly just right. And as soon as you grab that bottle, you're good. One of the things that are pretty obvious if you've not played this before, but you're seeing, is that you can grab onto just about any wall that's not spiky and damaging to you. And even later on, you can grab onto spike walls with an upgrade that you have and don't need in Demon's Crest because you're busted, like I was saying. But in this game, you do have to worry about that and have to cover the walls up so you can climb them. And you get this flight bar that limits how long you can fly. You fly in a straight line, you can drop if you want to. Once you touch the wall or the ground, you instantly can do it again. It's a very unique mechanic, and I think you can do a lot with it. I'd like to see more of these games.
There are some techniques like fluttering your flight, since you don't fall all that fast. You can extend your distance quite a lot, but that's relatively advanced tech and definitely not needed for our players, but we might see some people experimenting and figuring out ways to abuse the system a bit.
They will get upgrades to their wing level. It says there, level 1. That is, I think, just saying how long they can fly. That gets expanded on later to pretty radical amounts. And they get a whole bunch of different shots, one of which is to make platforms. Mega Man sort of powers. Mostly the kind of powers you get from Rush are here once you find them.
I think once you get a high enough wing level, or there's some power up you get, it'll allow you to actually ascend in air as well. It's not just falling, but the platforms are the big piece of the puzzle. Once you get access to those, it really does open things a lot for you.
Yeah, that's something you get in Demon's Crest pretty early, and that's the problem. Just the ability to fly upwards, and also
I think the
ability to fly as long as
non-linearity
you
of that
want.
game probably makes it difficult to balance well.
Yeah. I don't want to say it was a mistake to do that, because I really thought it was needed at the time, but it's hard to... It's got the same kind of balance issues as a lot of other Metroidvanias have.
Yeah, I think we're seeing Okami on the first boss, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's him.
Now, Okami did let people know in the Speedbump chat that he has beaten this game before. I mean, not maybe super familiar with it right this second, but he has the most experience, so... Okami is almost certainly going to set the curve, but all of our other players are definitely much more comparable to one another. I believe that's all the guidance I provided, so Kami is now off script and figuring things out. So his recollection of this game may be good enough to serve him well. Yeah, the Game Boy Gargoyle's Quest is actually a fantastic game. I don't think it's one of those situations where like the NES game is considerably better than the handheld. I think the Game Boy Gargoyle's Quest is pretty good. Though if I'm not mistaken, the Game Boy Gargoyle's Quest has random encounters, which can be kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I don't think that's in here, but there are some like intermediate stages, like this ghost guarding the bridge, I think maybe is one. Okami's dealing with it. You just fight this fella just to get access to the bridge. The RPG mechanics, mostly after you get out of town, make a lot more sense in terms of just like...
Yeah, they're all fixed encounters though in Gargoyle's Quest too. Like you'll see a guy on the overworld and it'll be a little platforming stage for you to fight.
Yeah, that stage was literally 3 dudes. It's done now. Look at Firebrand's shuffle walk. It kicks ass.
All right, well, we got Jaspertine defeating the first boss. I think I missed M Sparkly defeating the first boss as well. Yeah, these are fantastic little games. You know, we do try to give our players games that they'll enjoy, and I think that the Gargoyle's Quest games are pretty fantastic. I mean, you're a known Demon's Crest lover, and that's basically Gargoyle's Quest 3.
Yeah, these games are woefully underpopular. They're more popular now than they ever were, of course, but they undersold, so they just stopped making them. I would like to see it revived. They sometimes, I mean, this is Capcom. Sometimes they make Mega Man games still. Where's my Demon's Crest?
Yeah, it's only been, what, like 8 years since the last Mega Man game?
Yeah. Has it? Damn.
How long ago was Mega Man 11?
2018. End of 2018.
Okay, 6 years, sorry.
Yeah, well, they do a lot of releasing of the old games.
I might say too much releasing of the old games.
Yeah, but no, well, just making sure you can play it on every platform over and over again. That's cool. It's the same old games. I don't really mind that, since it's a complete and reasonable set each time, and it's got features. I say drinking out of my Capcom Creators mug and wearing my Capcom shirts and bed sheets, all tucked into my Capcom blankets. Anyway, I do actually like their sets.
They do already have a lot of games in the Mega Man lineup. Like it's not unreasonable to expect that the average person has not played most of them, and so if they re-release them, there's definitely a market for it.
Yeah, I don't know why they like Ghosts and Goblins more than Demon's Crest. There's no way that I guess it is unfortunately more popular, but there's no way that it's a better choice. I don't think it should be.
I kind of agree with you. As a Super Ghouls and Ghosts lover, I think that the Gargoyle's Quest games are much more playable. Much
They're just better. Like, it's just a better game. It's just a better idea.
Yeah.
If Arthur had a better, like, triple jump and it was I like a good platformer, and I'm sure you could fix Ghouls and Ghosts, but you'd have to deviate very far from what the standard is. I like a hard game, but I don't like those. They're too junky. They're too... I have a new stat in my spreadsheet for games rating that's hates the player, the stat, and Ghouls and Ghosts gets the big old 5 on that one. They don't like you at all.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Demon's Crest is like, hey, check out this cool guy. Isn't he cool? Look at him fly. He flies backwards now. Here, have a dragon fire. It's cool as hell.
In their defense, it's internally consistent, though, because the Red Armor absolutely kicks Arthur's ass all the time. And so him being impossibly strong from the word go actually kind of makes sense.
What if he spit a tornado and he could jump off of it? What else can this guy do? Well, his skin is iron now. Is that good? He goes back in time. Yeah. He's God. He doesn't care about that, though, so he's no longer God. But only by choice. They put him in a Street Fighter game. I don't remember which one, but... a fighting game of some kind. I don't know if it was actually Street Fighter.
You're talking about Arthur?
The Red Armor. Not necessarily
Oh, he was
Firebrand.
in one of, like, those Marvel vs. Capcom or something?
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
He just shows up squeaking and making demon noises. He's just a regular Red Armor guy. I don't think it's Firebrand himself. I mean, there's a difference. Firebrand is a named one, and he's especially dangerous, even for those guys. There are various Armors in the series. In, like, the Genesis Ghouls and Ghosts, they're, like, Red Armor Lords or something. They do all kinds of different moves.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like how everyone just refers to Magikoopa as Kamek now.
Yeah.
Even though Kamek is just one's name.
Yeah, arguably the strongest. Or at least the most popular, powerful one.
The one with the best PR team.
Yeah. He's the one who's making Bowser 50 feet tall. No, none of the other Magikoopas are doing that. They're shooting shapes. They don't got nothing on him. They're still working on triangles and squares.
Alright, we got Ramsey Fox on the first boss.
I wouldn't be surprised if people leave this race wanting to finish this game, or at least checking out more of it. It's hard to jump into, but playing it from the start, like Arcade Pit's pretty rough for the challenges, but playing it from the start, knowing how the spike jumps and stuff work, learning the moves. It's also beautiful looking, damn.
Yeah, it's a good looking NES game.
It's got that Castlevania vibe to it. The graphic style is way too deep. This is from 1992. So we're talking SNES is
That's
here.
really late, yeah. I didn't realize this was already 92, but I mean the NES was going until 94.
Yep.
Wario's Woods released the same year as Super Metroid.
This is the kind of game, to some limited degree, where you can explore and get upgrades and come back to a stage that's bothering you. I wouldn't say it's super hard, but it's still NES difficult. It has passwords and checkpoints that are reasonable. But it's got that RPG element that it really shouldn't have too much of. That was just how they made games. In fact, Demon's Crest completely got rid of that. This chatting with the townsfolk, finding items and stuff. You know what? Actually, Demon's Crest has a little bit of that too, but it doesn't feel like it because it's just one area and there's just like a store there. It's just
Right.
something to spend the stuff you're finding on. And I really I like stores in these kind of games when they're done in a way that's not too grindy.
Right.
Like every single Mega Man game except for 8 uses it in a grindy way where you're trying to get bolts to buy very important upgrades and E-tanks and stuff. 8 treats them as achievements, basically. Like you find a singular bolt in the stage in a special location, and you can trade it as a key item for like actual good upgrades, like your buster can be changed and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Demon's Crest just gives you money every time you smash a window. You just get $80. So you can just go feel like it. You can just get the money real quick. Doesn't take too long.
Yeah, that's how. If I remember correctly, that's how Mega Man 11 worked. Was that it's just like you have to grind so many bolts in order to unlock the actual stuff you need.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the standard. I don't know why. Because 8 actually did it. It's the only one I can think of that did it correctly, I would say. 7 is maybe the worst one for it, because there are some upgrades that, if you don't have them, the game is very hard. It's very hard anyway. And they are so expensive, but if you know where to dig with the dog, and there's no indication of where to dig, by the way, you can skip buying the most expensive things completely and just have them.
Oh, nice.
Ramsey has killed the boss and is now confused about going through the door. There's no climactic scene for it. You just leave.
Yeah, there's no fanfare. There's no song and dance. It's just leave.
Enjoy your Spectre's fingernail. It's just something demons collect and share. We have medals. They have ghost nails. Okami is dealing with a stage that has upward wind on it.
Yep.
And their wing power is unlimited during this.
Seem to be doing well, though.
This is... I mean, I like Demon's Crest a lot. It's one of my favorite games ever, but this is something that it's missing that I feel like it hurts it. And I would like it more if it had it. There's no stage like this where you're carefully... Like, that's like stage 1, sort of, and then it's over. You're done with that.
Right.
This climbing up tunnels and dodging things and stuff is standard platformer stuff. The wing bar is the unique thing that this game has that you just don't get to see. It's kind of like a hover that other games would have. Other great games like Bubsy.
Love Bubsy.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking my language.
Like Mario 3, wagging your tail does not fall too fast. I will exchange 15 vials for Maelstrom. See you again.
It's a lot of vials.
I love the undead town where there's just a zombie farming. Hey, Firebrand. Hey, how you doing? Just a regular place. They're just undead, that's all. Were they always undead, or were they born as zombies, or are they humans who died and then somehow ended up in the demon world?
Boss that Okami's approaching?
Yes. It's this orb guy. We don't
Well,
know
I think
why.
they had to be alive at some point to be considered dead. I mean, if you're just born dead, then I don't think there's a meaningful distinction between the two things.
But then why are they in the wrong world?
I don't know. Yeah, I think you'd have to take that up with them.
And how did they become undead? 'Cause that's not just something the humans do. There's skulls everywhere. Those guys didn't turn undead. Are they actually undead in the sense we would call it, or are they just like
Just
regenerating flesh and like weird mutant monsters, and we just call them that because they kind of look like they're human? Okami beat the second boss.
Nice. Well, we're a little more than halfway through. And one of our players has beaten 2 bosses.
Six vials. I guess that's just the money in this game. I don't remember exactly. Speaking of weird prequels, I want to try Landstalker sometimes, like in earnest, like all the way through.
That's the prequel to Alundra, right?
Yeah, Genesis. And it really likes isometric platforming.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. I don't think I've ever gotten anywhere in it, in fact.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it, but it always struck me as a pretty challenging game.
I think that it's going to be obtuse to a degree. I'll just need a guide open, almost. I hate to do that, though. I want to try to learn through it. I'm doing Alundra in the Shuffler, and I never remember enough about the puzzles, so it's always challenging. I just get stuck at random intervals for no reason.
I can't believe you put Alundra in there. That's terrible.
It's working.
Is it?
I'm in the desert right now. That's not too bad.
Okay, yeah, you're making a lot more progress than I would have expected.
Yeah, we were in dungeon like what 30 dungeons? I'm on dungeon 3. Alright, yeah.
Thought you were gonna tell me you were still in the first town.
That's the thing, is that there's some areas that are just like an hour of getting to the next thing, but I actually know where to go reasonably enough to minimize those. There's such good control in this game.
I mean, yeah, there actually is. It does control really well.
These tight squeezes, and also the spikes not being instant death, but after playing through, I just finished all 6 retro treatment sets and the Mega Man 6 originals. They do not have this kind of control at all. Like, sliding helps a little bit, but the way that Firebrand can sneak around, grab sides of things, and just squeeze through tight places without any risk at all.
Right.
They give you enough room to work with, and he doesn't bonk his head on anything. He's got a tinier hitbox than he has character sprite. Lets him jump around more. Okami's got wing level 2 and also the ability to smash bricks with a new shot type that they have. I believe you also have like healing items and such in this game in your menu that we hardly ever get to see get opened.
We've got several players in the area where the second boss is. Not having reached the second boss yet, but in the area where the second boss is.
can really see the difference in that wing power. It's crazy.
Yeah, being able to fly twice as long makes a really pronounced difference.
Especially because you can drop and then resume it as much as you want. You can really just cruise through here. This is a really cool speed run. Call me maybe, is that boss 3? Yeah, sure is. That's the sand frog monster thing. Hate this guy. So many weird fellas just live in the demon world here that Firebrand just has to deal with. I don't know how old they are. Like, is this some ancient frog sand monster that just happens to be here? He's been... I don't know why he came to fight it, honestly.
He's been waiting here for 1,000 years.
It's really hard to maneuver in the sand here. Vespertine's at the boss with 1 life left. They have 5 hits, though. The Bubble Boy.
Oh, he's in a good spot to just try to rush this down.
Iframe's probably preventing a lot of that, unfortunately. Shouldn't be too greedy. Did it, though. That's it.
Pulled it off. I
really
told you, Smite. You didn't believe. You specifically said it'll never happen.
The Firebrand just digs into the wall like a kitten and then fires out of his mouth. It's really good. Really good move. Okami has beaten the frog of the sand.
Nice.
The gremlin stick. Nice. Congratulations. 4 minutes left. Getting to the end of this thing here. It was a fun journey.
I forgot how cool this game is. I had friends who used to speedrun this game, so I used to be a lot more knowledgeable about it, but I think I forgot how cool this game is, and I get it crossed with the Game Boy one a lot in my head, which is also really great, but I think this is the one that I prefer.
Yeah, Game Boy's hardly ever to me better than the full color NES version of things, but that one actually is a really good Game Boy game. Like Tetris, Mega Man 5, those are some exceptional games on the Game Boy that I think hold up.
Right.
And this game's Gargoyle's quest on that one is really good too. Spritz is running into the trouble of this. This game is pretty mean with the respawns. If they're even off screen for a frame, they come back instantly.
Right.
No mercy at all on that. There's usually a little bit of give. And you have to work with that. You have to know that. Love the boomerang shot. 2 minutes. I wonder why the overworld is so big.
Yeah, no clue.
It honestly could just be a map with like set locations like
Mystic Quest or something.
Mario World. Like, yeah. You don't really need to be able to navigate it this way. There's probably secrets abound in it and stuff, but I would say that that's not something this game really needs either.
Capcom just genuinely wanted to make another RPG, I guess.
That was the genre at the time.
Well, under a minute left for our players.
I don't think any other bosses are going to show up, based on the location of everybody. You can see Okami using the tornado to get that boost. That is the power that you get from Mega Man 2.
There's another similar power you get later as well, if I remember correctly. One where you can, like, shoot, like a, for lack of a better word, like a goo splat at spikes and stand on them without taking damage.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier. You goo up the spikes, you remove the edge, and then you can bounce off of them as if they were flat terrain. Time is up.
All right.
Yeah, the wall climbing in this game. Like, I like the wall climbing in X, but Firebrand is better at it without falling off the wall at all. Like, X slides down the wall, and that's fine. That works. Gargoyle's Quest and Demon's Crest, he just grabs it, and he goes nowhere. And that gives you incredible control. He also is really good at it. Like, if you're even close to grabbing the wall, he does. He just grabs it. He doesn't care. There's no slipping at all in this franchise, this whole franchise. Versus, honestly, Mega Man X even, as much as I like it. A little clunky with that. That is one of its weaknesses.
Well, I think we need another Gargoyle's Quest game.
I agree. Where's Gargoyle's Quest 64? I've been waiting for 20 years. Almost 30.
It's time.
That's right. Go back in time. Make that thing. Give me 3D. I honestly probably would prefer just a really well pixelated 2D platformer, hand-drawn sprites. Give me the good stuff.
There you go. Yeah, we need more of that.
Looks like Okami, as we see with 3, who's the winner, and Jaspertine had 2 down. Everyone else was working on their second boss. Confused about progression sometimes. Hey, good work, everybody. It is a game where you can get stuck a little bit because of its nature as a Metroidvania thing.
It was a nice little taste of it.
Yeah. You got to get used to the way the platforming works. It's unusual. That's one of the reasons I like it. That flight bar, they designed around it. You have these really long jumps. You have to get a really good feel for how you descend, how you sneak around enemies who are flying around you, and how you can use that for maximum distance, which is way more distance than you're normally able to get. It is a lot like having the flutter in Mario 3, I would say.
Yeah.
Where you can, like, clear 2 or 3 screens of space pretty easily. Thanks for joining me, Author Blues.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
You got more coming up?
I'm going to host over to Terravan.
All right.
See what it's up to.
Well, take it easy tonight.
See you later.